Hi everybody, my name's Andrew. Today I'm driving a Volkswagen Jetta GLI and... wait, what? That's right, if you caught the end of my previous video, I mentioned briefly that I bought a Volkswagen GLI. And here it is, it's a 2022 GLI Autobahn. And as you've seen on this channel before, there's my friend Evan's 2019 GLI Autobahn. And so today we figured we'd get the cars together and just quickly go over what's changed between the original Mark 7 and the Mark 7.5 facelift. And before we jump in, I just want to quickly apologize for the lower than usual quality on this video. For various different reasons, this is the third time we've tried to film this video, and as you can see over here, it's still not exactly ideal conditions today. It was actually snowing earlier, but at this point I think we just really both want to get this done and over with, so we are just working with what we have. Exterior styling changes are pretty minimal except for up front. As you can clearly see, the lower bumper portions between the two cars are noticeably different. This one has the red accent piece on either side, whereas this one doesn't, and the grille trim is slightly different. This one has a chrome surround to the red line, and the red line on this one is also slightly lower. It sits below the DRL, hence why you can add this red accent decal here. Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, depending on which one you prefer, the red line on my car lines up with the DRL, because I was gonna do the same thing, same decal there, and realized I couldn't because it won't actually line up. And I'm gonna black this piece out eventually, but that's beside the point. Wheels. Automakers do typically switch wheel designs with facelifts. However, this wheel design was available on the pre-facelift Mark 7, just in a slightly different color scheme on the 35th anniversary edition. This car, as we've discussed previously in other videos, actually has aftermarket wheels on it. However, they are OE Volkswagen wheels. These are off of a Mark 8 GTI. And personally, I prefer those wheels to mine. For one, just because they're 19s, they fill out the wheel arches a little bit better, but I also just like the style better. I will probably swap mine out eventually, but for the moment I'm going to keep these because they do have basically brand new tires on them. This is a maybe 2-week-old set of Michelins at this point, so no reason for me to spend the money there just yet. As for the rear ends, the differences back here are a lot less noticeable than the front. For one, the lights are slightly different. As you can see on this one, the lower section of the light is red rather than amber. This part functions as the turn signal on this car, but the brakes and turn signals are combined up here on the facelift car. And the lower bumper section, or diffuser I guess, is slightly different between the two cars as well. This one has the honeycomb pattern all the way across, and the stock exhaust tips are bigger. Of course, this one has a modified exhaust, so that's not really a fair comparison there. This one is more of an actual diffuser than the facelift, but I think this one is integrated better, and these are integrated into the diffuser as well rather than being separate pieces, as you can see here. Interior changes between the two cars are also fairly minor, nothing significant design-wise, mostly just little design touches like trim and that sort of thing, and a couple of features. The screens are the same from car to car, the digital gauge cluster and center infotainment screen. However, my car does have wireless CarPlay. This car, you still have to use the USB connection. And this trim that you'll find on the dash and on the doors in my car is slightly different. I'll show you that in just a second. And also the door panel in this car, it's a little bit hard to see thanks to the poor lighting in here, is plain black leather. Doesn't have any kind of accent stitching or anything like that in this one. This steering wheel is also the Mk7 GTI steering wheel. Of course it does say GLI on the bottom, but the button panels and the shape of the steering wheel are the same as the Mk7 GTI, as well as the shifter down here. And hopping into the facelift car now, as you can see, like I said, the screens are exactly the same. This trim has red and black accents throughout, rather than just being kind of silver. And the door panels have a red stitching accent on this car, as you can see there. The seats, it's also a little bit hard to tell, have a red perforation to them. So the layer just below the black leather is a red foam, which kind of shows through the... Oh, there you go. You can see it way better on the backrest from this angle, but I do like that. That is kind of neat. The other ones are just plain black. And then, of course, the steering wheel and shifter. This is the Mk8 GTI steering wheel and shift knob in this car. The upside of this setup is that this shifter does look a little bit better, I think. It's just kind of more modern looking and just a little bit more interesting, frankly. The other one's just kind of plain gray and silver. But the downside, of course, is the capacitive touch steering wheel button panels in this car. These are definitely not my favorite. I'll cover them in depth in a separate video on this car eventually, but personally, I would happily give up this steering wheel and shifter to go back to the pre-facelift Mk7 one. One other little detail I want to mention in here before I forget is Apple CarPlay song information shows up in the digital gauge cluster rather than just this display right here, which is pretty nice. The back seats between the two cars are essentially identical, again, other than the different red perforation here on my leather. But the door panels are exactly the same, and size-wise, of course, the cars are still exactly the same, which is a good thing, because the Mk7 Jetta and GLI have one of the biggest trunks in this segment. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of crap in both of our cars, and they are giant trunks. Mechanically, from factory, these cars are both identical as well, and of course under the engine bay you really can't see any visual differences anyway. The only difference that I kind of am hinting at is that this car is currently tuned, and frankly mine will probably be in the future as well. So from factory they both made 228 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque. They're front-wheel drive and have 7-speed DSG transmissions. This car with the tune makes closer to 300, and like I said, this one probably will eventually as well. The only real mechanical difference between the two is that with the facelift, they added DCC, dynamic chassis control, also known as adaptive suspension, adaptive dampers, which is something that was available on the pre-facelift, but only on the 35th anniversary edition for some reason, and not on the Autobahn, despite the Autobahn, of course, being the top trim. Unfortunately, something they kept between the two cars is this hood prop, which, as you can see, is incredibly flexible and probably the worst hood prop on any car I've ever owned. But you haven't heard any horror stories about people getting crushed by it, so I guess it works just fine. It just doesn't inspire a lot of confidence when it does that.